Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment on the weekend show, brought to you by Holocron Popcorn. My name is Andy Madaki, and welcome back, Didi.
Thank you.
Once again, and officially, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you
As you
very
can
much.
see, we have like 5 different types of cake, which I requested specifically just for you.
Okay.
I'm not going to sing happy birthday to you, but everything on the table, you
I
can have
expected
it.
you to sing, but okay,
Even though
we'll
we
take
know
the
you
cake.
prefer currencies that have surname.
Thank you very much. You
Did you
know
have a
me
fun
so
birthday?
well. Yes, I actually did. Surrounded by family and friends, so it was amazing.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 30th of this month is the International Day Against Trafficking. In Nigeria, we have been able to record convictions. We've been able to record great strides thanks to NAPTIP, the agency in charge of trafficking of person or fighting against it. However, every year we still have more victims, and the theme this year is reaching trafficking victims, leave no one behind. And that's a continuous theme to 2030 about leaving no one behind. This affects a whole lot of people across the world and mostly from Africa as a result of conflicts, crisis, climate change, and poverty rate. How can we make life better for people to reduce illegal trafficking, which have far-reaching consequences? And joining us on this segment, we have
Romance Joyce Obi, who is the programs manager at EVA. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Rumsa, I understand that in your work experience, you've been able to work with people and organizations that have been focused on trafficking, and we know how much of a big problem this has been. Interestingly, while Nigeria is even doing better and progressing, globally, the rates of reporting have reduced by about 11%. Why is this area of importance to you?
Okay, thank you. So, trafficking, it's of importance to us. The work that we do is focused on reducing vulnerabilities of people. And trafficking by no way promotes human rights. It's a violation of people's rights. Because if you look at the reasons behind trafficking, you see that it's about vulnerabilities, poverty, limited economic opportunities, lack of education. All of that are not indicators, they're not good indicators of a healthy, progressive society. So it's very important that we eradicate trafficking completely.
Mm. What is the current situation with trafficking in Nigeria right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means an expert.
Mm-hmm.
I think NAPTIP will share updated facts and figures, but I do know that the Global Slavery Index reports Nigeria as being 38 out of 160 countries. That is still high. So I would say that Nigeria is still a transit source for trafficking. It's a transit, people pass through Nigeria to be trafficked. Nigeria is also a source of trafficking because trafficking comes from here. So the current situation of trafficking, it's still happening and it needs to stop.
So, okay, that's interesting to know. And we do plan to get some from NAPTIP next week and some from IOM. But based on what we see going on and the work you're doing, what do you think should be done in place to, one, deter people from trafficking and also to fix the problem?
Yeah. So, I mentioned reducing vulnerabilities. Let's look at what are the root causes of trafficking. People are looking for economic opportunities. That's why traffic tactics, when traffickers tell you that there are several people that are trafficked because of job opportunities, So if we can address all of these social issues, all of these things that make people vulnerable, I think that will be one step closer. If we can ensure that children have access to education, we can ensure that young people are also educated about their sexual and reproductive health and rights. We can ensure that there's enough access to economic opportunities for young people. I think it will reduce their vulnerabilities. Because if you look at, like I said, the reasons behind trafficking, and why it's so successful and why traffickers are so successful is because they have promises of better opportunities and also if we can also educate people about their rights. The reason also why people stay in these situations is because there's a lot of scare tactics that they do. You know, you can't report to anyone, nobody's coming to save you, this is all you have, this is all you've got. You know, there's no safety net for you to run back to. But if young people grow up with the knowledge that, you know, their families are safe spaces for them, you know, it will be easy for them to pick up the phone and say, hey, okay, I got into this situation, but now I want to come out. Can I come home? But the scare tactics that traffickers use keep people, you know, in that position. They keep them, leave them feeling vulnerable. The words are escaping me today, you know, but yeah. So we need to ensure that all of the social injustices that make people feel vulnerable are taken away. Sexual exploitation, lack of access to education, lack of knowledge of sexual and reproductive health. You know, I know that there's a lot being done in both the formal settings and the informal settings to make sure that people grow up with a sense of their rights, so that nobody can just come and deceive them or tell them things. You know, it's immediately possible for them to just say, no, this is not right. So I just, let me just, I remember a story that broke out on social media. I didn't follow it, but I do know that there was a person that was caught trying to, I think, sexually exploit some young girls. But the thing that stood out to me in that story was when the individual asked the girl for nude pictures, and her response was that, I'm not allowed to. And I just felt like this is what we talk about when we say educate young people about their sexual and reproductive health rights. They know the boundaries, and they know when somebody is overstepping that boundary. So I think we need to do more about making sure that we educate people about their reproductive health rights and remove the vulnerabilities, the poverty, lack of access to education, all of those things. We'll be one step closer.
I understand that being proactive, you know, plays a huge part in this type of situation. So how do we identify, like everyday people, how can we identify traffickers or trafficking situations?
Man, I know, I would say that people have gotten, you know, very good at deception over time. But then it still comes back to recognizing boundaries. What is this person's duty towards me, duty of care, right? Am I supposed to be getting friendly with this individual? Are they supposed to be, for example, giving me money, catering to my needs? Is that responsibility supposed to be that of my parents? So it has to start with us recognizing the places. You know, it's about social protection, and we call it safeguarding. You know, as an adult, what do you owe to children? What do you owe to vulnerable people around you? And when are you overstepping that boundary? So I don't know if you want me to add more to that.
I think that's great. And just to also add, being able to strengthen our institutions with prosecutorial rights and privileges will help. We've seen how Lagos State now has a special court for sexual and domestic based violence, and that with convictions, we've seen that there's been a bit of progress.
And that's something that other states really should follow. Absolutely. Lagos State has been very progressive.
I agree totally. Domestication of the VAP Act and also having special courts for this, it will serve as a huge deterrent. Everyone say, well done for what you do. Keep on doing the hard work. I will continue to have this conversation as well as provide tips for members of the public on how to stay safe and to prevent themselves from getting into this situation. Like Nigerians would like to say, and they do mean it, is let the poor brave. And by ensuring that we have the right protections, we have the right economic capacity, then it would serve as a deterrent for people wanting to seek greener pastures or green lands. That's the much we can take on this segment. Don't go away. We have Tender on Entrepreneur Spotlight next.